Today, I am very honored to have here Victoria Wilk from Poland, who is also Erasmus Mundus student of European Social Work for Children and Youth. And today we will cover not only Erasmus Mundus, but also something new. What is Erasmus for young entrepreneurs?
Yes, correct.
Hi, Victoria. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting. Hello, everyone. Yes, should I introduce myself straight away?
Definitely. Can you tell us what is your background? Where do you come from? And like from which background? Yeah.
Absolutely. So yes, as you mentioned, my name is Victoria Wilk. I'm from Poland, and I'm also the Erasmus Mundus student. Just finished my first year of the study, so I still have one more to come. I'm studying social work, so we've been traveling from Lithuania to Latvia. Now I will be going to Slovakia and then to Portugal, to Lisbon by the end of it.
Wow.
And my background is kind of international. I left my country when I was 20, and since then I've been studying, volunteering, working, traveling all over the places.
Wow.
So there has been quite a lot of international experience. I've done my bachelor's in England. I've been teaching in China, volunteering in South America, many different things. However, since I finished my studies, I've been mostly staying in Europe, doing different Erasmus projects. Since this umbrella is so huge and there is so much to do, this is what I've been mostly involved with.
Wow, I see you are really a global citizen.
Well, just like you.
Exactly. You mentioned some projects of Erasmus. Can you say us if you have done more than the Young Entrepreneurs program, like some youth exchanges and stuff?
Yes, quite a few youth exchanges, quite a few training courses, the short-term European Solidarity Corps, which is the volunteering program, the long-term volunteering European Solidarity Corps, then on top of that, the Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs, which I've done just before starting my Erasmus Mundus. So now I'm on my Erasmus Mundus journey. Yes.
Before we will dive into the Young Entrepreneurs program, do you think that it has helped you to win the scholarship for Erasmus Mundus? Or
Well, so actually, yeah, I don't really think so, but the reason for that is only because when I was sending my application, I was still not doing my Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs. So it wasn't really included in my motivational letter in any part of my experience. However, it definitely would. I think it would. The Erasmus programs are quite connected and they have very similar values. So I think if you are going into them, the more of them you do, the better candidate you are. But for me personally, only because of the timeline, it didn't really fit into matching and helping me.
why did you choose to do this program for young entrepreneurs, and in which field were you involved?
Okay, so well, sometimes in a certain point of your life, when some project is finishing, there is this question coming, what do I do next?
Yes.
And I was just finishing my long-term volunteering project in Cyprus, where I was for 6 months. And this question was rumbling around my head. And that was actually thanks to people that I've met there. They introduced me the idea of this program and they told me that they've actually done it. And that is super nice and that you can do it, that anyone can do it, which is a big plus. The only thing requirement is the fact that you need to write your business plan. And very often this is something that discourage people because it sounds very difficult. But yeah, I must admit that I actually have an idea circling around in my head. So once I started to write my business plan that would be sort of related to the social work, so what I'm studying right now, I just put it on the paper, and in a couple of days I had my business plan ready, which was actually quite praised by the organization that I was applying with. And I didn't really have a particular direction of going with this Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs. I definitely wanted the experience from this NGO field, but it was not obligatory. Since in my business plan, I had a point of teaching languages in that organization as well. I actually got an offer on the platform that I could come to the language school in Prague. And
Oh.
at the beginning, yes, I thought that, well, it's kind of off the lines, kind of off tracks of what I actually want to do. But at the same time, it was the Spanish Language Institute. I love Spanish. I studied Spanish. I speak Spanish. And they really wanted, yeah, me to come and work as a Spanish teacher while at the same time learning how the language school was actually open, how does it work, everything that is, from the backstage, the management aspects, the paperwork, and all of that. So after not such a long consideration, because actually at that time my ex-boyfriend lived in Prague as well, I thought that, wow, this is just, the sign, whatever you might call it. So I accepted the offer.
How, like, can you maybe say briefly what is the main difference, let's say, between Erasmus Mundus, because we have a lot of audience from Erasmus Mundus, and Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs, because they are both very different.
Yes, totally. So Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs is focused and directed towards people who actually want and have a desire to open their own business, that are driven towards this direction. So it's definitely a shorter program. It takes from 3 to 6 months. Um, yes, or maybe even from one. Actually, yeah, I think up to 6 months. While Erasmus Mundus is 2 years. You get more involved. You study. It's a bit different. So with the Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs, you're actually getting a very practical experience of what it is and how it is to work in the startup, to have your own company, to be responsible for the company. You learn from people who actually did it already. So it's a very first-hand experience compared to Erasmus Mundus, while the knowledge and everything is more theoretical. So I think these are the biggest differences. However, the similarities are probably the fact that anyone can apply for both of these programs. So as I mentioned, the only condition is for you to have your business plan. But usually the organizations, because you need to find your sending organizations, they are quite helpful, and you can find certain patterns on how to write the business plan online as well. So I wouldn't say it's so much effort.
In fact, I would like to add something that as a student, we are used to write thesis and so many papers. Like business plan is sort of like a homework or essay, let's say, because you need to put the thoughts in some structured way, which had to show some reason.
Absolutely. And for me, it was actually very interesting to write it, considering the fact that I finished my bachelor's. I was starting my master's, but I had no idea, even where to start. So this is also maybe a call for professors, teachers to maybe include this aspect in teaching, especially with the Erasmus Mundus, I would say, since later on we are kind of open to go anywhere. I assume that quite many people go on their own to be entrepreneurs. To write your business plan is a very important skill.
Yeah, no, in my opinion, The knowledge is fantastic, but you need to take action, and that's what business is often about. Like you need to make something what will work in a real life, and this is what why I invited you to share your experience, because I think it's one of the other very interesting options for people who wants to get into business through Erasmus projects. Can you mention some downsides of some projects like for young entrepreneurs?
Yeah. So yeah, it sounds great, from the theory, from the experience as a memory as well. But what you need to have in mind is the fact that many companies, startups abuse the Erasmus programs. Abuse might be quite a strong word here, but I will still stick to it. They abuse the applicants for the Erasmus programs because they are being paid by the European Union, and they will do anything for the experience. So companies and entrepreneurs who just open their own businesses, very often maybe they don't have that much money and they really need more people to work, so they put a lot on the applicants, on the Erasmus students, Erasmus applicants. So that is actually quite in my case, at least, it was quite frustrating because I came there to learn, not to manage the company. And at certain point, I really felt as if I was irreplaceable in the sense that if I didn't come to work, this and this and this and this would not happen. And that was so much responsibility that I don't really think should be laying on the shoulders of the Erasmus volunteer, Erasmus applicant who is just learning. So this is definitely something to keep in mind when you are applying. Maybe do some more thorough research about the company that you are going to be assigned to be working with, and hopefully it's not gonna be your case. Hopefully you'll be fine, but this is something that is happening and something to have in mind.
Yeah, it's always good to find some organization via recommendation or through someone who has worked with such organization before and they have positive experience.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely, I agree. In my case, the organization had very good reviews at the language school, and I believe it's still working in Prague, and I wish them all the best. However, it was not entirely true to what I found there. I had a very good time. I learned so much, and this pressure was actually, a very good motivator for me in particular. But I know that there were some people in that school that did not enjoy this experience that much.
Because you're now exactly in the middle of your Erasmus Mundus experience.
Yes.
And you also have your own YouTube channel where you share your experience from the countries you're living in and with Erasmus Mundus projects. Do you have any advice for future aspirants of Erasmus Mundus and maybe even of the other projects? Because you have a lot of experience which you can share.
Yes, that's such a nice question. Actually, yes. What I want to say is that before applying for any of these projects, think where you would like to be and who you would like to be after this program finishes. Because what European Union and European Commission does, and what is the most important, is that it gives you money and it gives you time. And maybe it's gonna sound strange, but don't consider this opportunity, this Erasmus Mundus, this Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs, this volunteering as the only thing that is happening in your life, because it's amazing, but you need to think bigger and explore, try different things, think about where you want to be, try to, you know, plan small steps to actually be there by the end of the program, because it's gonna pass extremely quickly. I don't know when my first year went. And it is something that, yes, you should think about, because you're gonna have time, you're gonna have money, and you should use it.
That's actually fantastic, fantastic advice. And thank you for sharing it. Because if students rely only on the program itself, then the program will end eventually, sooner or later. And then this gap between student status or different chapter is way bigger than if you're transitioning smoothly along with your studies. So that's a fantastic advice.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think especially in the master's level, where, you know, maybe as a bachelor you can focus more on your studies, not necessarily on the working experience that much, even though it's already recommended. Then during your master's, I think it's the most important thing you can do, to get involved in everything around your master's.
Exactly. Do you have something else you would like to add?
Well, maybe I will do some advertisements, you know, of my channel. So, yes, I also have my YouTube channel where I talk about the Erasmus Mundus experience, but not only. There's quite a lot about countries that I'm visiting and different opportunities. So you might also check it out somewhere in the link, probably.
Perfect. Thank you so much for Victoria for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.